Welcome back to the Steam Room, everybody. Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley. Chuck, I know you enjoy it when we have special guests, and I enjoy it when you don't know who the special guest is. And so I'm going to give you a hint. I'm going to let you hear his voice. Here it is.
Chuck, I'd love to see your fat ass try to dunk a basketball right now.
Hey, clear.
Dive.
JT, you can't call me fat on TV. That's bullying.
How about that, Chuckster? Let's welcome Justin Thomas into the proceedings. JT, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Just wonderful. Congratulations on one of the great lines of the match. That was tremendous.
Thank you, and congratulations to an unbelievable video for the start of that as well.
No, thanks, kid. I appreciate you.
Well, Justin, man, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule last week, man. That was one of the highlights of the weekend for me, getting tips from you, and you were great on the course. How relaxed were you during the match?
During the match, I was good. It honestly was a lot of the pregame stuff, just, because I wasn't calling golf. It's easy for me when I see something to call it how I see it, at least it is, in my opinion. But the stuff beforehand, giving analysis or picking, a team versus the other, knowing when I'm on camera, when I'm not, stuff like that. That's stuff I'm not used to.
Hey, but let me say this. I mean, as I watched that, and one of your representatives, Jeff Schwartz, he and I swapped emails that day, and I told him, I said, your guy is a natural at this thing. He's been tremendous. I'm not, blowing smoke at you because you're here on this podcast with us, but it did look effortless for you, and not everybody can do that, JT. It's just not that easy.
Yeah, I don't know. I was blown away by how many texts and emails and things like that I got. It was weird. Everyone was I was joking with Jeff actually, but Steiny and Lance at Excel, and I was saying, I feel like I won a tournament. I got so many kind of it's a nice feeling, but it's just for me. I obviously I love golf, but I like the kind of the nerdy side of it of, how I'm hitting shots and being able to, call things how I see them, and I think that's something that a lot of amateur golfers at home don't realize is, we might have 170 yards in the middle of the fairway to a right pin, but, how are we going to do that? And where's the wind at? And how is that going to change it? Or we have this simple little chip. And, I would have loved to ask those guys every shot and chip they had, but as I learned in TV and producing, you don't have all the time you want. It's you have to get things in certain windows. And my number one priority was not talking over the guys and not talking over a single player. And that was my main goal because that's something that people at home wanted to hear. And, I felt like I did that, but I was also very fortunate to get a great crew and they made it a lot easier for me.
Putting up the hill, although it's probably a gimme. That was.
Yeah, but you see how it took.
You gotta wait for them.
Tom, even you can make that one, dude.
Here we go. I'm not gonna lie. If I have a bad round, I'm gonna switch tomorrow, because it's got to be the clubs. It can't be me.
Absolutely. Spoken like a true athlete there.
As far as this, obviously we've never been through anything like this pandemic in our lifetime, and this probably the longest in your life you've been without playing golf. To be honest, correct?
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. It's definitely 100% the most amount of times I've woken up in my bed in a row, I think, since like middle school, if I had to guess.
Yeah. So my question is, how are you if choosing between playing and practice, how would you tell me you spent that time between playing and practicing?
Playing. I've spent 95% of the time playing. I just felt like, and my dad, who was my coach, we just felt like we weren't really going to get a lot out of practicing this entire time. It was, if anything, it was just going to be, not be beneficial as opposed to helping. And it just was, it's one thing if you're practicing what you're getting ready for when it's coming up. But I felt like I was starting to play really well right when, when we got suspended or kind of put on a little hold there. But what was I going to do? Was I going to go to the range that week to kind of hone it in and get it perfect for, not having a tournament golf again for 2 months? So it's like, as you guys know, especially in golf, it's so hard to maintain to play at a high level already. So I felt like, why am I going to try to peak for when I'm not even playing a competitive round? It didn't make sense to me. So I took this time to really get in the routine workout wise and get my body in good shape and work on some weaknesses I had there. But whenever I wanted to do things golf related, I would just go play. I'd either go have money games or just go have fun, play with 3 clubs, play left-handed, whatever. But when I would go out and play, I just wanted to hit different shots so I didn't lose that aspect of it. My distance control isn't great. My chipping isn't great right now, but that's what these next 2 weeks are for. I went out, I practiced this morning, I worked on my wedge game, worked on my distance control, and it already feels better. And, for playing, it's not like I took enough time off where I have to completely restart. I just have to kind of hone in some things because I want to be able to be peaking or trending the right direction once we start back up again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's a couple of weeks away, right, Colonial?
2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, yep.
So, I mean, is there any feeling on your part, Justin, because of the way golf looks on TV now and because there's no gallery, is there any part of you that's saying, look, I need to try to make this a little more entertaining than it normally would be? I mean, now that you've seen like how the match worked and saying, let's make this a little more fun for the viewer, can you do that when you're trying to win a golf tournament?
I haven't thought of it. That would obviously help and be great for not only everybody at home, but for us as well, being on the PGA Tour. But I mean, I hate to say it and it sounds bad, but I mean, I'm there for one reason only, and that's to try to win a tournament. And if it pleases everybody, great. If it doesn't, I don't really care, because if I won the tournament, that's all that I'm there for. And I know that sounds bad saying it, but it's not just an exhibition. It's not just, a fun round. And obviously the match was still competitive, but that's a lot different. It's like, yeah, Phil and Tom didn't win, but the end goal was still there. They raised a lot of money for charity. There was unbelievable viewing. And at the end of the day, although they want to win for bragging rights, it didn't really matter. Whereas I'm going to a tournament for one reason, and that's to win. And hopefully the entertainment value is just me or whoever making a lot of birdies and people like to watch, because as you guys know, sports fans will watch about anything right now.
You're right.
$1.5 million for Phil Mickelson to hit bombs. That's what you do anyway, Phil, right?
Yeah, well, I had the coffee. I got to activate the calves, and I got to step on one here. Come on, baby.
Man does have some calves.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I have to listen to every time we play.
I think the tour should consider letting you guys wear microphones. I think because if you're not going to have fans, I think you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to do something to spice up the coverage. That's just my personal opinion, because you just can't have announcers talking for 4 hours.
For sure.
I mean, how much would it affect you to wear a mic?
I wouldn't wear one personally, because I say a lot of weird stuff when I'm on the golf course. And especially with today's day and age, I just would hate to say the wrong thing that gets on there, and then all of a sudden it's all over the internet and whatever it might be. It's just, I would feel uncomfortable the entire time, or even in conversation with Jimmy, my caddy. It's just like, I might, throw an F-bomb in there when I'm just having a normal conversation, but unfortunately, it's just if it happens, it happens. So then it's out of my control. So I personally wouldn't wear one. I know a lot of guys would, and I do think that would be huge, and a lot of fans and people at home would like it. But I also understand that with boom mics nowadays, especially when you're in the feature groups or you're in the last couple of groups, I mean, those mics are right on us.
Yeah.
There's mics on the tees, there's mics on the greens, and when we're in the fairway, they're right next to us. So they can pretty much hear everything we're saying anyway. The only thing they can't hear is the conversations between shots, which it's not like it's any of their business at home anyway. We're talking about whoever knows. But I definitely do see what you're saying, and the Corn Ferry has done that, and I think it's gotten great feedback. It's just more so a matter if some guys will be open to it, or if they'd be willing to do so.
all I want to say as I close out my part of this thing is it was just wonderful to see Alabama and Auburn coexisting for at least a few hours on Sunday. I
And
thought,
Tennessee, how about that?
oh, I know. Yeah, this was and well, I'll bring up Georgia at the same time, but it's like it was an amazing thing. And again, I salute you, Justin, because that's to be thrown into that as a guy who's not into TV yet, you did tremendous. And anytime you can take some shots at Chuck and keep him in line, you're my guy.
Yeah, I was a little worried when I was brought this. I was like, man, am I getting on this so Chuck can roast me? Is he mad at me? And this people are texting me. They're like, what did Charles say? I'm like, man, first off, I would never say it to somebody I didn't know. But second off, if anybody knows Charles, they know that that's exactly what you like, Chuck, and just talking trash and being fun. And I think that's what made the match so easy for me is knowing everybody. I think knowing the four players, knowing the guys in the booth. I mean, BA is who I know the least, and I obviously just know him from either watching coverage or just being around, something that he's involved in. But I mean, like I said, I couldn't have been luckier with who I was working with, and they made it as easy on me as possible. But, if you get me on a golf course, that's in my comfort zone, and I like to talk trash. So it was a fun day for everybody involved.
These aren't the Falcons you're playing against. Tigers are a pretty good closer.
Same colors, though.
And
It's the Eagles that I cringe, bro, not the Falcons.
Well, I just want to say two things. Number one, I cannot wait. So, Ernie, he told me, and I was striping it on the range before I choked like a dog. Like I choked like a dog when I got on the course.
I've seen that act, man. I've seen that up close.
Ernie, the only bad shot I hit was to drive. But I want to say two things about golf. So Justin says to me, Chuck, what's your go-to shot? I says, well, the dribbler, the hard right, the snap turtle off the tee. He said, no. He says, well, what shot do you hit under pressure? And I said, Justin, I don't know that. He says, tee the ball down low and just make a normal choke down on your driver.
Mm-hmm.
And Ernie, I hit 10 to 15. He says, it's not going to go as far, but it's going to be straight. And even if you miss it, you're going to be able to play it. So that's the one thing he taught me that I learned. My second thing is, and I asked Trevor, because you said it on the course. So when Phil Mickelson was chipping, you said Phil is one of the best at getting his chest through on his chips. And I tried to get Trevor to explain, but we didn't get a chance to talk about what exactly does that mean when you're trying to chip and get your chest in?
Yeah, so it is. It's kind of hard to I guess it kind of works differently for everybody just in terms of the style that they chip. I mean, I kind of explained the bounce to you and using the bottom of that club. But, I would say the easiest way to explain it is if you're standing 10, 15 feet, whatever, the distance doesn't matter. But if you're facing perpendicular to me, you're not facing toward me, but if you're going to throw me a ball, does that make sense? You're kind of throwing it across your body, underhanded or overhanded.
Yes.
But you're not going to throw the ball and keep your chest pointed where you're facing. You're going to turn your chest toward me and then throw it. Does that make sense? It's kind of hard to explain, but it's just, it's the same as anything is it'd be if you're turning away, it's kind of like I was telling Tom that he was hitting a shot and I was like, would you throw a football with, like, if you had the opportunity to square up, wouldn't you square up? So why wouldn't you, it's the same sort of thing. It's like, if you're standing there and you're hitting something that's, facing left of you from where you're standing, you're going to turn your body left of it to throw it, whatever you're throwing that way. So it's kind of the same with chipping. You don't want to hang back. You don't want to keep your body back and scoop something. You want to turn your body and let your arms go toward where you're going. So it's something that's harder to explain rather than show. But I kind of always, my dad has always done that. He's always related it to throwing a ball. He'll give someone a ball and say, throw me that ball. And he'll throw it to him and he'll be like, look at your chest. So why, if you throw a ball like that, like you're getting it to me, why aren't you doing that on your chip shot? So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but hey, I listen. I'm working. I'm gonna keep working on it. Cause chipping's the worst part. Well, I shouldn't say the worst part of my game. But hey, I want to thank you, number one, for taking the time. I really want to thank those four guys for playing. And I told Ernie, me and Ernie was talking before you came on. The general public got no idea how hard it was raining down there. I give those guys
Oh my gosh.
I give those guys a lot of credit. Trevor was amazing.
He
BA was
was.
amazing. You were great. Amanda Balabonis was great. I mean, I just want to thank everybody for working hard. And then to have it turn out to be the most watched golf event in history, that's crazy. And I want to thank everybody for their hard work. And thank you for working with a slug like me, Justin.
No, it was great, and I obviously had respect for what you guys do. First off, I'm a huge fan of y'all's show and everything y'all do. You guys are highly entertaining, but also do a great job in terms of giving information while also keeping it lighthearted, but can be serious. And I think it's. I know you guys get a lot of credit, but you deserve every little bit you get. But also, I gained a whole new respect for TV side, and to me, having that headset on and listening to how many voices that are in there, and BA's ability to, I mean, he would be in the middle of a story and Jeff, the producer, would just come on and be like, all right, BA, we got a commercial in 4, you got to wrap this. And he's just somehow would conclude this story in 2 seconds and perfectly timing with the program, be like, all right, and we'll be right back after this. And I'm like, how the hell did he just do that? He was in the middle of a story. And he did all that. So
that's why he's one of the very best in the business, JT. That's something that
people at home obviously don't see, and something I never saw. And I texted Bones when we finished, who does the on-course reporting, for tour events now. And I said, I'm so sorry I ever tried to have a conversation with you on the golf course. I will never do it again because you have so many people talking to you in that headset. You don't need someone in your other ear. So I thought it was funny.
Well, hey, good luck as the tour resumes in a couple of weeks, and we will hopefully bump into you one of these days, and hopefully you won't have to bump into Chuck on a golf course anytime soon. Shake that off.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on, and hopefully things will get back to normal and I can come see you guys somewhere. But if not, we'll stay in touch.
Thank you, brother.
All right, fellas. We'll talk soon.
Ernie, that was really awesome for me. You get one of the best players in the world to take the time to just and we spent a half an hour on the range, and he was teaching me man, the thing so it was clearly all about pressure. Because he said, when I teed that ball down, he said, it went perfect, 260, 270, 280. He said, it's not going to go as far as you normally hit the ball if you hit one solid. But even the ones I was missing, I could find him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use that going forward. But Ernie, I'm getting better, man. I'm getting better.
Chuckster, when I said that I've seen that, when you've come out here to Chateau and we played, I've seen you striping it on the range. I think you and I and a million other guys out there have this same thing of how can I transport that game from the range to the first tee? Because I can be out there and hit 6 in a row and in my warm-up that are absolutely perfect with the smoothest swing of all time. And I get to the first tee and then bang, there goes that flare. Uh-oh.
Charles. You suck.
We're in play. We're in play. Step 1.
All right, I am in play. That's the only good thing about that drive. But Justin did say something that I'm going to start thinking about more. So, during this quarantine, I've been hitting balls 2 to 3 hours every day. And
Why, you going on tour?
No. I just listen. I'm gonna be playing. I look like I'm gonna be doing broadcasting all summer. But you know what he said? I'm gonna start playing more. I'm gonna start playing a lot more. That was very interesting that he said that. He says, you get a lot. You practice. He said, no, I don't practice at all. I play 90% where I play. So I'm gonna start practicing as much and start playing more.
Yeah. Good idea. and choke down on that driver. Nice
Tee the
smooth
ball,
swing.
tee the ball down too, Ernie.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
My driver's been in timeout the last 4 times I've played. I've just been hitting 3-wood off the tee. It's like Henrik Stenson, been stinging that 3-wood, keeping it in play.
I love it.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break here on the steam room. That was great from Justin Thomas. Our thanks to JT, man. It's wonderful to get golf tips from a guy who's a major champion.
Yes.
It's always a plus. Back with more steam room right after this.